As the world's leaders convene in Paris for the UN Climate Summit, one Chinese artist is drawing attention to the stark realities of climate change and of overpollution. Nut Brother, otherwise known as Wang Renzing, has created a smog brick. Jose, this is the result of Nut Brother going out into the streets of Beijing. Beijing, obviously notorious for its heavy smog in the city and its inner city area. He's gone out with a 1,000-watt vacuum cleaner for over the past 100 days and sucked up all the pollutants and all the smog that he can muster, and has created a brick out of all of the particles, the dust particles that he's found in the atmosphere. And he's put it together in clay, with some clay, and he's now created this dust or smog brick as a graphic illustration of really what people are ingesting into their lungs if they walk around the streets. I mean, it's extraordinary to note, really. If you look at, there's a couple of tweets, one of them which I'm just going to throw up full screen, that people who live there have shown. This is Beijing's stunning World Trade Center. Well, you probably can't see that on your screen, but I can just about make out two very small lights in the middle of that. And that is someone taking it with a camera phone and demonstrating how soupy this smog really is. They've increased the smog warning from yellow to orange. I don't really know what it has to do in order to get to red. The dust particles are 10 times the recommended maximum that the World Health Organization has prescribed. It just illustrates to me a couple of things. It illustrates the urgent need for action to be taken, but it also illustrates the challenges, because a lot of these nations, most notably India and China, are going to resist a lot of the proposals that are coming about, because they would turn around and say, well, listen, it's all well and good for America and for Western Europe to prescribe certain criteria now that we have to jump through, but you guys have industrialized, you guys have modernized. Now you're denying us, and India in particular has been an outspoken critic of this, you're denying us the opportunity to industrialize and to join you as a rich nation. Correct. Because of this now. So who are you to do that? So there is that resistance, that back and forth.
It shows the contrast that it leaves the reality of people every day in their lives and what the COP21 conference is trying to achieve to prevent the planet in raising their temperature just 2 Celsius degrees. That's all. If we keep doing business as usual, we'll raise the temperature by 2100 by 4 degrees, and that will be a common sight everywhere around the world. Now, going back to the geopolitical implications of the climate debate, we do know that India and China, they rely on coal and like you said, not so modern sources of energy, like the developed world that is moving into renewables, is moving into solar, electric cars, the batteries. The development of batteries are really important. But again, it's a way for the powers that be to manipulate the development of the planet. And for them, it's easy to say, hey, we already are in trouble. Why don't you guys that still have a lot of homework to do to come to this level, curve down your use of renewables so we keep the control of things? So I think it's a very interesting spin to the whole debate that is not only about the real issues that people face in their lives, the rising levels of the ocean, the pollution in the cities, but also the geopolitical implications of allowing some countries to develop by the use of coal versus saying, there's no more time for you guys. We took all the time needed and we are developing, you guys are not.
1.6 million Chinese die every year through air pollution. That is approximately every 1 in 5 deaths are caused in China are caused by air pollution. So it is a very real problem in terms of personal health as well as damaging to the environment. Correct. And it's only going to get worse. Beijing estimates that by 2030, their air particle pollution will get down to more acceptable levels. But that is still some ways off. The financial incentives have to be there, I think, in order to encourage certain countries to make that change and to move towards renewables. But it's not going to be an easy challenge. But Nut Brother has really been trying to highlight this, and I think it's quite an eloquent illustration. I think if I was living in Beijing, wearing one of those masks really wouldn't do a whole lot of good, I don't think.
Half a brick. You only have half a brick in
your
lungs.
You only have half a brick in your lungs.
Yeah.
It's just quite an eloquent illustration. There have been some critics saying, well, you added clay into it, but he's made a brick out of the particles that are in the atmosphere that people are breathing. So take that with you as you think about what they're seeking to achieve in Paris, and the hopes that they will be able to come to something meaningful coming out of this climate summit.